For it.
Dremel, the deep man, they're going to fake it, and what a play! On a day where kicking in every way has not worked.
Day by day, we get better and better. We get better and better. Till we can't beat beat. We can't beat beat. Won't beat beat. Won't beat beat.
Hey, welcome into Day by Day. I'm James. I'm with Andrew. I don't have a voice because I was at the game today. So I have to be really subdued so that I can talk tomorrow, like when my kids wake up.
Yep.
So what a day in the Big Ten. What a day in college football. Nebraska wins. Alabama loses. USC loses. Michigan loses. Whew.
Yep.
So let's get into our reaction. Just talk about the game. I'm still kind of coming down from being at the game. And so my thoughts are scrambled. They're all over the place, but I didn't watch the game on TV. So I probably have some questions for you about things that we didn't get information on sitting in the stands, but I'm just curious. You want to start? What were your thoughts watching the game on TV?
I mean, it was a fun one to watch. Overall, it just felt like a Big Ten slobber knocker would, just physical teams, fairly disciplined teams. We still had probably led the game in penalties, a couple kind of bogus again, I think, but not near as egregious as last couple games.
Yeah.
But, no, at one point in the third quarter, when we were still up, when it was 14-0, I think it was after the big defensive stand at the goal line. I remember thinking, okay, I don't want to hear any fan complaints this week about the offense. Like, this was just one of those complimentary games. Even special teams, I mean, on the Buschini side of things, where he stepped up. Now,
he had a big day.
My reaction towards the end of the fourth quarter was kind of, I think I texted you, James. I said I felt like the offensive game management was trash. Like, it just felt
the second half.
It felt like they were playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same predictable 3 runs up the middle, get to fourth down and punt with the punter. And I just, it didn't feel like there was a whole lot of creativity in trying to move the ball and kind of drive the nail in the coffin per se. So here's mine.
So what I noticed was Dylan's body language just seemed frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he was unhappy with the line, the play calls, probably himself. I think Rutgers did a lot I think they did a lot that was different they beat Washington last week, and Washington just beat Michigan 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. They were good.
Right.
Undefeated.
So they took away the deep ball on almost every play. Yeah. Like we did not have guys open downfield. Now they're still not getting open, but did you notice that on TV that he just seemed flustered?
He did. And it was primarily after a couple of the sacks he took. He took some hits that were frustrating, I could tell. And he kind of walked off, like, his head down a little bit, took his helmet off, almost looked like he wanted to throw it. There was one moment where it looked like he looked up at the booth, probably up where Sat was, and kind of mouthed something like some frustration, I think, at probably a play call or something. So, but it's he's a freshman, and he's a crazy competitor. So I'm sure in the post game, I didn't watch his post game, but I'm sure he was back to same old Dylan. And
I have to go back to listen.
Yeah.
Now, what I do want to say is, the reason you lose a voice at a game is because of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you're helping out the defense. My first game this year, and I love what they do on the big screens. When there's a false start, they're keeping a tally of how many false starts there are for the year and for the game that the fans have contributed to. And we got a couple today, a couple false starts. Yeah. It wasn't super loud. It was hot. It wasn't as bad as it could have been out there, but I thought this was one of the best games the defense has played in 2 years with Tony White. The game changed on that after the block punt and when Rutgers had the ball on the 2-yard line and couldn't score.
You could tell, I'm sure they just sat on the sideline and said, they are not scoring here. I mean, that tends to be again, that complimentary football thing. Like our brother stumbled, we're going to back him up. Yep. And I'm sure that was the mentality there. That was pretty impressive.
And here's one of the questions I had. We had to stop them for 6 plays because they called the defensive holding on what looked like to us a phantom hold. Do you remember that?
Was that
it looks like the receiver actually slipped going to the corner of the end zone, and then Kaliak-Manis threw it, and we're like, and they called it on, I think they called it on Singleton, and we're like, there was no hold. That happened earlier in the game as well, where they called a holding play when a Rutgers receiver slipped.
Yeah. And
so that was 2 times that Rutgers had, automatic first down. It's just, I guess it's, when you're sitting in the stands, I'm kind of confused. Sometimes they don't even show the replay. But it gets to the point where you're like, it's a broken record, but it's a joke. Like it's a joke.
Yeah. Both of them were, there was little holding, if any. I think the one in the end zone, the guy just lowered his head and just almost bull rushed Singleton. And if anything, I think it made Singleton kind of fall and then the receiver fall. It was
That's what we saw.
Contact fully initiated by the offense. And then you have one Nair down the sideline, gets his jersey pulled.
Yep.
Yes, ball was slightly overthrown, but you have a clear jersey pull and there's no call. So
because I think the ruling on a hold is it doesn't matter if the ball's catchable on a hold.
Receiver was held.
Receiver was held. I think, the defense just played amazing. The way they're able to generate turnovers, right? They got 2 picks, was incredible. They followed up Raiola's interception by getting it back right away. They just played lights out. And even in that last, the only touchdown Rutgers had, the game probably wasn't in doubt. I think that Rutgers guy made a great throw from the end zone on that 40-yard pass. It was a great throw. And so you tip your cap. They scored, but we take away that one play and, Rutgers is sitting around 215 yards for the day.
Yeah.
They still only had 260 yards or something, 270.
And I'm sure Rutgers fans will say, okay, they had that dropped touchdown along the sideline where it just hit the receiver's shoulder pad. What I say to that, man, we've seen that too much as Husker fans where that one goes against us. We saw it against Illinois where, just a overthrow. This was a blatant drop, but we've seen stuff like that that's haunted. So it was like,
I think that was right after one of the phantom holding calls.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And I kind of looked at my wife and I said, they deserve it. Rutgers. I was like, because they shouldn't have even been in that position. I think it would have been 3rd or 4th down.
Well,
at that point.
it was because it was Buford that got called for holding. And then on that play, Buford.
Yeah, that's right.
I saw someone tweet, ball don't lie. Like Buford got the redemption there. So,
yep. And, I think I saw some stuff about, Buford kind of needing to get his act together. And I thought, he had the pick earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
He had it was a pass breakup on the 4th down on the goal line. Could have been a pick 6. It was a bad throw. So I don't think Buford was actually expecting the ball, but it's like he played a decent game. Who really struggled on defense was Malcolm Hartzog. He really struggled. And I was surprised. It just felt like he couldn't keep up with their receivers. And then actually, as you get further on into the game, he was not in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You had Buford, you had Sierra Wright, you had Jamal Charles. Was Jamal Charles? Did I say that right? You had Charles in.
It's not Jamal. That's the former Texas.
I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah.
I'll figure that out. It'll come to me. You had Charles in the game.
Yep.
Jeremiah. I knew it was a J. And Hartzog just wasn't playing a lot in the second half. I don't know if he was seeing things poorly, but
Yeah.
I mean, Ty came up big. I thought the linebackers played a good game.
Bayer was on the field.
Yeah.
Bullock was all over the field. Yeah.
I mean, Monangai had like 60-some yards in the first quarter, and he didn't even rush for 100 yards in the game.
Yeah, and that was odd. I felt like they shut him down. Rutgers shut their own guy down pretty quickly.
Why were they throwing the ball?
Don't know. I
mean, I would have kept running.
We were it, but yeah, I kept saying, I'd be like, "Here's a run, here's a run." Nope, there's a little fake handoff and then pass outside. So,
I mean, I do think we adjusted a little bit on the run game because even when Monangai got handoffs, you know, he had a couple 9-11 yarders here and there in the second half, but most of the time it was just gang tackling.
Yeah.
And then I cannot say enough about James Williams. Should have had 3 sacks. Again, I think that last play of the game was an incompletion, but when it's an obvious passing situation, he is a bear coming around the edge.
Yep.
So happy for him.
The length, I mean, dare I say, he has some resemblance to Randy Gregory. Just the long, lengthy arms, and
I mean, honestly,
quick move.
I haven't been able to say this in a long time, and I don't use the comparison lightly. He reminds me of a young Grant Wistrom before Grant kind of put on a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
And he's tall, lengthy, fast, just like a bat out of hell. I mean, he's ready to go get that quarterback.
And he's like a third-year sophomore? I mean,
I think so. Yeah, he's pretty young. He's still got a couple years left. So was super impressed. And I mean, you just knew at the end of the game, Rutgers is in an obvious passing situation. I mean, he's lined up against the right tackle, and he's probably 3 yards outside of the tackle. I mean, he's just trying to get that angle, and then he, did a spin move and got to the quarterback. Yeah. So,
go watch his on post game interview.
I have it up. I haven't been able to watch it yet.
It was good because he's just, if you know his story at all, people can go check him out. But he's got somewhat of a rough last couple of years. He stated, and football's kind of been his bright spot.
That's great. That's good for him. Now, one thing I wanted to say about the offense, which if you weren't in the stadium, I think it's really hard to grasp how windy it was. It was really windy. The flags in the north end zone were stiff the whole game. What's crazy is because the wind was swirling, Nebraska actually went against the wind for about 2.5 or 3 quarters. So you're supposed to get the wind twice, and then you go against it twice. It did not happen. It did not happen. Nebraska, it was windy against Nebraska in the first, and then in the second, because the wind was going kind of sideways, swirling in the first quarter, and then in the second and third, it switched. And so it wasn't until the fourth quarter, a guy next to me goes, "We finally got the win. We've been playing against it for 3 quarters." And I know it affected the passing game. Affected the kicking game. Rutgers missed that field goal because it was windy.
And that's probably a lot of Dylan's frustration is because there were some of those where he'd throw the ball in the dirt, he'd throw it out of bounds, he'd throw it away, or he'd take a sack. He was hesitant, and I remember the announcer said, "Well, he's got wide open guys. He's not taking that shot." But my guess is he was feeling the wind and he was probably trying to play a little conservative because you throw it out there. Yeah, your guy's open, but is the wind gonna make it not open? So,
I mean, the first half. I mean, I thought Satterfield put on a clinic. I think we had over 200 yards in the first half. We ended up with about 261. So it was bad.
Yeah, and that's where you just want to see the grind it out, come into play. Where, all right, we're 14-0. Let's just run, and they were trying. It's not they weren't. It's just, I don't know, something's off with that.
I mean, the lines patchwork at this point, right? You got 2 to 3 freshmen on the rotation.
Yep.
And they're young. It's good for them. What I love is we played an ugly football game and won the game.
Yeah.
We had 2 punts blocked and we won the game. We ran with sacks, which again is a stupid statistic. We ran for like 70 yards and we won the game.
Yep.
Dylan threw a horrible interception and we won the game.
Yeah.
So
great points.
I think that says a lot. That says a lot about where this team's at.
And Greg Schiano said in the post game that I read, he said he had never seen anything like the wind in this game.
Yeah, I had just tweeted that right before we jumped on here.
Yeah, I made a comment like usually it's tornadoes and hurricanes, but he's like,
Yep.
It was so.
I mean, it was really funny when we scored the first touchdown and they let the balloons go. The balloons didn't want to leave the stadium. I don't know if you could tell on television, but there were some just hovering right over the players. I thought it was like they're going to go on the field and they're going to throw a flag on Nebraska because of the littering. So, I mean, it was pretty bad. They couldn't get out of the bowl because of the wind. It was swirling everywhere. It was terrible. It wasn't unenjoyable to watch. I'll say actually the breeze was kind of nice to have with the heat, but like there was a pass that I don't remember which quarter. I know we were going north. So it had to be second or third quarter. Dylan tried to hit Barney on a kind of a really long corner route toward the sideline. And he threw it and it just sailed and it went out of bounds by probably 5 or 10 yards. And so I just think, if there was going to be a game where he was going to have a game like this, like great day to do it.
Yep.
Terrible wind. You're playing a team that doesn't have a great offense, can't score points. Get it out of your system. Go into a bye week, clean it up, and come back ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. You have that game in a win. I mean, that's ultimate. Now you have a week to rest. You have a week to game plan for what looks like a potent Indiana team.
Yep.
And really the rest of the schedule is, I mean, 3 of the next 4 games are against, or 3 next road games are all against ranked opponents.
I mean, well, then as you look at the game though, you're like, or the game, as you look at the season, I know the schedule could be difficult, but let's be honest. Indiana hasn't played anybody.
Right.
USC just lost to Minnesota, who has a losing record.
Mm-hmm. And they lost to Michigan, passed for 40 yards in that game. I think.
Yep. Who knows who Wisconsin really is? I mean, they beat Purdue this week, but Purdue was probably still kind of shell shocked after getting pounded by us last week.
Yep.
Will Iowa be able to score?
Yeah, they got.
And then there's UCLA. So I know people are saying we have a bear of a back half. That might be true, but I'm not convinced because what I see week in and week out from Big Ten teams is it is literally anybody's game.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like the NFL.
Yep. And minus Ohio State, most of these look to be 1-score, 2-score games.
Yep.
So
yeah. Any other thoughts that you have?
I don't think so. I'm gonna have to process, but just I'm excited. It felt really a relief to get it going into that bye week because listening to all the analysis this week, it was like you gotta have one. You can't drop this one going into the bye week and it's all negativity for 2 weeks.
100%.
So
all I know is Desmond Howard picked Rutgers to win. Of course he did.
Not learning his lesson.
And here we are. Nebraska won. I'm happy. We're 5-1.
Yeah.
Like think about that. We're 5-1 going into a bye week. And I think they can get one more game to get to a bowl.
I almost laugh at the announcer said that. They're like, there is a path to 6 wins. It's like, well, of course there's a path to 6 wins. And then in the same breath, he goes, really, there's a path to a Big Ten championship. It's like, it's all out there. Like, it's all out there.
That's really funny that he said that. That's really funny. All right. Well, we'll close it up for our reaction. Be sure to subscribe to the show, like, share, comment, follow us on social media, and then be sure to tune in next week. It is a bye week. We'll just have one show, but we have a special guest. It's going to be Eric Hess, who runs the Arbitrary Analytics account on Twitter. It's a great account. Husker fan, writes for some Husker outlets, Husker fan outlets. And so you won't want to miss Eric. He's going to be kind of going over midseason grades with us. And so it's going to be a fun show next week.
Hey, maybe we can talk some recruiting too.
Maybe we can. It's a bye week. All right. Well, everybody, we really appreciate you tuning in. Excited to get out of this weekend with a win. It's always good. Andrew, as always, great to see your face and hear your voice.
You too. Go rest yours.
I will go rest mine. All right, everybody. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.